Hey guys, this is Casey.
And this is Tim.
Welcome to Bootstrappers, a small business marketing podcast brought to you by BizIQ.
On this episode, we're talking about small business cynicism versus optimism with 10-ish actionable steps.
Stay tuned. One of the things we wanted to bring up today was the skepticism, right? Where small businesses are reluctant to take the plunge into online marketing.
Sure.
Right? And embrace some of the more 2018 tactics and where that skepticism comes from. And, if we kind of talk about what we were just talking about is getting on the same page with like terms, one of the biggest reasons that people don't want to jump in is because they feel overwhelmed with the lack of knowledge of what the actual process is, right? Mm-hmm. We get issues all the time. And I was just watching an old Moz video. Moz is big in the search marketing world, as you know. Mm-hmm. And the creator of the video, a guy named Fishkin, was talking about how skepticism from business owners when it comes to online marketing, especially more technical stuff like SEO or search engine optimization, is not a lack of results, but understanding the overall process and a failure to communicate properly by the marketer who is driving these results.
Yeah.
Because the business owner doesn't know how to tie those results that he is seeing or she is seeing to the efforts of the marketer if the marketer isn't communicating that properly.
Yeah.
That's where the disconnect happens. And understanding what they mean when they talk about citations or optimize. What does the word optimize mean? Right?
Yeah.
So it all starts with that education and coming to some common ground with the terms that you're working with.
I think if we can take back to just kind of the toughness of small business owners, I think a lot of the cynicism comes from a lot of these guys that we've worked with, a lot of the clients we've worked with have seen every trick in the book.
Yep.
They've heard every buzzword since 1972. They've seen it all. They know it's just they've seen so many scams and they're getting called up by salesmen all the time. Everybody's got this really...
Right, and it's not just from marketing stuff.
Yeah.
Right, like what you wrote about last year, it's their taxes, right? They're getting fake calls from people pretending to be the IRS, fake domain name scams, right?
Yeah.
All these, it's not just marketing, it's all these different ways they're getting ambushed on a daily basis. So that's where a lot of the skepticism comes from too, is how do you know who's legit and who's not? Yeah.
How could you, realistically, how could you not be, just crusty after a certain point? You just, your phone has been ringing off the hook for decades now. Somebody's just trying to pull money out of you. So a lot of times when there's a legitimate marketing service, something that could really affect your bottom line, a lot of people have this.
It's cry wolf.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crying wolf. So for instance, our team that is the first point of contact talking about, how there's issues on Google Maps for your business. Business owners, by the time our team gets on the phone, they're like the seventh person to call that business that day. And the other six, most of them are probably pretending they were Google, which is a huge issue that small business owners are facing is we are Google and we are here to fix your listing. Google would never do that, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to break through sometimes and deliver that and stand out and say, no, we're not Google. We're not going to pretend to be Google. Here's what's going on, though.
Yeah.
But exactly like you were saying, you get bombarded enough, everybody, you're on edge with everyone, right? And you're skeptical from everyone. So one of the challenges for us as a company would then be, from our vantage point, how do we make sure that we gain that trust in the first place and then keep it?
Yeah. And
that's how we've been so successful over the past 6 years.
Yeah.
So,
well, as a counterpoint to that cynicism, the NFIB's Optimism Index is at an all-time high.
23 straight months it's been at a positive score, and it's at an all-time high as of the most recent report, I believe.
Yeah, when did let's unpack the NFIB index a little bit.
Yeah.
There were a couple things that went into that the metric, the index of it. You typed in methodology.
Right, methodology was what I was looking for. It's what does the NFIB use to gauge whether something is, whether small business optimism is at an all-time high, an all-time low, or if it's trending up, trending down. Basically wanted to see how they're testing that. And they're surveying members of the NFIB. Okay, so National Federation of Independent Businesses, they're surveying their own members, and they're asking them, they're looking at 10 factors. I'm not going to remember them all off the top of my head, but it's something like pretty straightforward. You know, it's pretty straightforward questions. It's not like opinion based. It's more like, you know, how many jobs are you at, or how many jobs are you likely to add? It's like how much income are you likely to add? How much salaries are you likely to increase? That sort of thing.
Are you investing in expanding your business right now?
Right. And when they compile those 10 factors, they create the index. And if enough of those factors are positive for enough of the members, then it's at a certain score. Yeah. So right now it is very good. Yeah. And I think the article that you and I were reading is from the all-time high, I believe is what they were saying. If nothing else, that they were at least positive for the past 23 months. So that's a very good thing. Now, I guess full disclosure, there is, you know, this isn't something we're making up. There's been some skepticism about political bias from the NFIB, about certain members and who they're getting their money from.
The lobbying.
Right, the lobbying.
We got some Koch brothers.
Right, who are they lobbying for? Yeah. Are they actually representing their people?
How independent are they?
Right. Regardless, I think that we can see from our work on the front end at least, you know, we're down. Our account management team, you know, our sales teams, they're listening to our clients talk, and a lot of them have that same optimism, but it's not necessarily to hear about, like circling back to the skepticism, right? I'm optimistic about what's happening economically with, you know, tax reform or anything that's going on with economic policy. Yeah. They're excited about that, but still a little reluctant on this whole tech thing. Yeah. So it's an interesting little dynamic that's happening at the same time.
There's like this, I think I'm kind of a fatalist or something, but I go back to, there was probably a lot of optimism in the 1920s before the crash. Sure. Right? Or in like 2006.
Sure.
You know, before the housing.
And we are due, right? We are due for a little bit of the dip in the market. Things have been going cyclical, right? Right. Well, for a little bit longer. But at the same time, you know, it's a lot of what we talk about, right? We focus on, say, best practices, right? Things that are, or the term that, you know, everybody likes to use in the content world being evergreen, right? Yeah. So that's why everything, when we talk about general strategies, a lot of things we're going to talk about today, these are evergreen or things that will always be relevant. So regardless of whether there's a decline, whether there's an increase, optimism, skepticism about how everything's going, we're going to try to keep it to tried and true methods.
And, you know, I hate to disappoint people out there, but we're not those, we're not going to list off a bunch of hacks here. Right. We don't have life hacks.
We don't have life hacks.
We don't have, there's no like get rich quick scheme in this. What this is about is like a holistic, big picture, always advocating, doing things transparently, doing things right, boosting that quality, and connecting with your clients or customers just as beautifully and elegantly and just a more perfect means of SEO.
Right. And one thing that, you know, kind of stands out to me as my time as an account manager, you know, working with a book of like 170 clients or so from all over the country, one of the things that brought a lot of joy to that role was realizing I could take a step back for a second and read some of these reviews for my clients, like the reviews that their customers left, see some of the work they did with pictures that people are posting on Google and Facebook, and really realizing, you know what, I'm not just like going through my day and calling people and getting done with my work. What I'm doing here is I'm helping like a really talented, a really good excavator or remodeler. And if we're getting performance in this campaign, we're helping that craft expand. We're getting that craft out there more. You know, it's always tougher to be motivated to help, say, someone who, you read those reviews and you know they're not treating their customers well.
Yeah.
When you think about it, there's very few things, very few hacks, as you say, that are going to save that company from that.
Yeah.
And one of my tips that I'm going to go to later when we talk about, some things we can take away from this episode would be, committing to reviews. That's one of the things I'm going to circle back to, right? Getting that reputation online, how important that word of mouth is.
Yeah.
People who are not treating their customers well will go out of business.
Yeah.
Because now more than ever, we are hearing about it from strangers.
Yeah.
Word of mouth from one person is great. What I'm going to do, as soon as you tell me that I should hire this person, I am going to look them up online and read the rest of reviews. Because you're a good friend of mine and I trust you. But I got time. I've got apps.
Yeah.
I can take 15 minutes to read 200 other reviews. And if there are 1 stars mixed in there, I'm not going.
Yeah.
If a business owner has less than 3, and 3 is cutting it. If you have less than a 3.0 rating, you are in danger of going out of business.
3 is like when you're starving at 2 a.m. after last call and every other place is shut down and you open up your phone, you're at like 3% battery.
Yep.
And you find that 3-star place, you're like, this will do.
It's open. This will do.
So like,
this will do.
Only the most hungry, desperate people are gonna like go to a 3-star or lower.
Right.
So,
and of course, it's industry specific too, because the consequences are more dire in certain industries.
And what we call the verticals.
Yes,
right?
in the industry we call them the verticals. Right. Knowing your verticals.
Buzzwords, folks.
Exactly.
We've got
jargon.
Jargon.
Right. So, for instance, a auto repair shop with a 2.4 star rating, that could end up in you being charged $2,000 for something you'd have no business doing. A 2.4 restaurant, worst case scenario, hopefully this is the worst case scenario, you might get food poisoning.
Yeah.
Or your pizza crust gets burnt. Right? So it's gonna depend on your industry how severe your decision is, but people are looking for that first number to be a 4.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, sometimes people are, even though 5.0 is perfect, sometimes people go back to skepticism a little bit. You see someone with 55-star reviews, you're like, come on, not one person has had an issue with this? Not one?
I think it's a little, it's so hot and cold. Right? Like, I would like to see a lot more like...
More 2-star reviews. More 4-star reviews.
Honestly, like...
Who is a 5-star?
I've seen, like, I've had a perfect, like, I think, like, a perfectly pleasant transactional thing should be a 3-star. Nothing wrong
3.
With it. Well.
Wow.
4.
3. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess there's, are people defining this? Like, does Google define it for us? Like, no, when I go to leave a review on Google Maps, my options are just the stars. It's not like a survey we used to take in school about our professors or something like that. Like, agree, strongly disagree, right? So I see what you're saying though. If you did what I expected, if you got what you expected, what was your star rating? Maybe put in the comments of this video or this podcast, what if you got exactly what you expected from the service?
All right.
What star rating would you leave?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see that.
Yeah, folks.
Because I'm interested.
Weighing it at home.
What's that?
The folks at home weigh in.
Yes.
Like let us know.
Because I'm more likely. Maybe it's just you're a cynic and I'm a really sweet guy. Because I guess if someone treats me right, if it's a stellar experience, I'm gonna leave the 5. But I don't even know if I'm inclined to go leave the review if it's what I was expecting. Right? Maybe I want to go above and beyond is the only time I'm gonna leave a review. Yeah. But you're right. I think places like Yelp and Google Maps, as they're trying to get more people to leave reviews, I think they want to encourage the 2, 3, 4s, right? Because for the most part, like you said, we see 1s and 5s.
Yeah.
Right? Or you see that one person who really takes pride in the fact that they're a reviewer and they leave a 4-star review on a 4.9 business and say something like, everything was excellent, but I don't give 5 stars because nobody is perfect. So I will leave it as a 4. And everybody's like, oh my, really? You're that guy? Yeah. But, that's, as annoying as that could sound, that person's probably on the right track with how reviews probably should be treated.
There's room for improvement in everything.
Yes.
And people treat it like it's a thumbs up, thumbs down system.
1 or 5, yeah.
And the people that are the most motivated are the people that they just had such a bad experience that they're like...
They're the most motivated, is the one who had the worst experience, not the 5s.
So if like 1 out of 20 of your customers are dissatisfied, you better believe that
is the one.
That is the one who's going to leave a review because they're motivated. So you got to be more vigilant than ever now because it follows you. You can't just say, take a walk, pal.
Right.
Get out of my shop.
Right. That doesn't work anymore.
You can't just... It would be, maybe that's why people are cynical, is they want to go back to that day where it's like, hey,
I'm not...
There's the door.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, that was my quick little rant on reviews. It's just something I'm passionate about because I've seen how a dedicated reputation strategy can save a business. And I mean save a business.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into any details just for privacy's sake here. We had a client who was about to file bankruptcy within 30 days of signing on with us. Okay, this isn't a sales pitch, by the way. I'm just telling you the truth about reviews.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was, how do we get this going as quick as possible? All right, so we're going to work on the website. We're going to work on your Google listing, your Yelp listing. We're going to work on the listing side of things. But if you want to make an impact right now in your business, you can start today getting more reviews. And I started getting phone calls, right? Call me. I will teach your clients how to leave reviews if they don't know how to. Right? I'm not going to create fake accounts, right? I'm not going to go into Google and create custom new Gmail accounts, but I'm going to let them know how they leave you a review. He's standing out so far from his competition that they're booked out like 2 months. And of course, we did great work on the back end with the website and the listings.
Yeah.
But immediate results were happening because his star rating in Google and his Google Maps listing was so high. So that's why I spend time talking about reputation, because it is going to replace, in my opinion, is going to replace your listings, if you will, on the other your mentions of your business. It's going to replace that in importance, in my opinion. If it's not already more important.
And a lot of times, like, all it takes is just a nudge, it's just like, you need to like have the power of suggestion. Just say to somebody like, would you mind leaving a review? Seems like you're pretty happy with this.
Right.
Just don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
It's like in sales, don't be afraid to ask for it.
Or it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
That's what I ran into a lot, is it was a pride thing.
Okay, so people were like...
Yeah, it was... Well, I know I did a good job. I don't need a pat on the back.
Like, they need the validation.
Right. You do need the pat on the back.
Yeah.
You need that public pat on the back.
You
absolutely do. As difficult as it may be to ask for, you need it.
Well, it's like saying you don't need a good credit score.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a metric that affects your financial well-being.
Right.
So do whatever it takes to get that up without being sketchy.
Right, exactly. So, first of all, quick definition of sketchy: fake Google accounts, creating Google accounts for people, even if they left you a legitimate review and you're reciting that. Don't create a Google account from a new computer, right? Don't set up little kiosks inside of your store that say review us here, because now Yelp and Google are going to see a bunch of reviews all coming from the same IP address, right? Don't offer discounts in exchange for a rewiew.
No paying your employees.
Right?
No
incentivize anything. Okay. Now, of course, you can reward your employees if your employees are the ones who are getting the reviews for the business from the customer. Yeah. Right. But your employees can't go on and leave you reviews. Yeah. Right? Those are the kind of the shady tactics that you'll see throughout, and Yelp doesn't take any of it. Yeah. Yelp will not have any of it. Google's a little slower to take down those fake reviews. Yelp's gonna hide ones that are 100% legit because they're like, you know what? I don't trust you enough. You're going in the filter. You're going in the Yelp review filter. Yeah. So, just wanted to, when we say sketchy, I just wanted to define some terms here. So
there we go.
So people knew, right? No incentivizing. That's the big one. Right? A lot of people are just more like, what if I do a 10% discount if people leave me a review? I won't even tell them that it has to be a 5-star review. Yeah. I'll still give them the discount if they leave a 1-star. They're not going to give you a 1-star and then go ask for their discount. Yeah. Okay, so you can't do that. You can incentivize people to submit private surveys, though. So you can, give us some feedback, fill out this survey, and you get, from what I remember now, just disclaimer here, of course, check the FTC guidelines here, but I believe when it comes to incentivization, there is a difference between incentivizing for reviews and incentivizing for surveys that you're keeping kind of as an internal resource for the company. Okay, so there's that little rabbit hole I just went down. But
when it comes to SEO, this is not numb. There are rules.
There are rules,
There are rules.
And there's our first official Big Lebowski reference.
We were talking about this.
Wow, I can't believe it took this long. Actually,
in the conception of this Bootstrappers podcast, we were talking about just sneaking in Grateful Dead and Coen Brothers.
Basically, Grateful Dead and Coen Brothers the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of us that it took this long for one of those to sneak in. So let's hope we can, average it every 15 minutes or so. So I mean, that's pretty good. I would have thought for sure we would have been about 7 of each of those.
I know. We should put a little counter.
A little counter.
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
in there. It's dynamic. It updates every time. Makes a little noise even. Right. Maybe a little jerry lick for every Grateful Dead one.
Okay.
And the clattering of bowling pins for every Big Lebowski reference.
Right. This is called alienating your audience.
Yeah, we
have now lost a large majority of people.
I feel like we had a solid 20 people. We're down to 2.
Right. Possibly. But those 2 people are pretty cool.
We're going.
It's probably us, the 2 people.
We're looking for quality audience members and not quantity here. And Big Lebowski reference fans and Coen Brothers people.
Coen Brothers in general. You're probably going to school me on the whole No Country for Old Men stuff, though, because I'm not as versed in the script as you. I know you could probably recite it right now.
Yeah, it's the greatest film ever made.
Right. That's what I hear. That's what I keep hearing from you. But anyways, let's get back on track a little bit here.
Let's get into the actionables.
Okay. So I already just went on a complete tangent about one of mine. So let's call number 1 committing to reviews.
Okay.
Committing to getting reviews. I know it's a prideful thing, okay, but this is going to save your business, especially if you are struggling right now. If you have a 2.4 rating on Google with 7 reviews right now, think of that as a dire emergency for your business. I mean, some people might comment and think I'm being dramatic about this, but I would consider a reputation issue online on something like Google or Yelp as a dire emergency for your business. So work on some review acquisition strategies. Regularly follow up with your customers if that's something that works in your vertical. Right? Follow up and see how the car is running if you just did a repair. Follow up and see, how how the driveway looks if you're a paving company. Follow up with your customers. If you're the business owner and you're not client facing a lot, work with your employees who are customer facing, who are client facing, and teach them to identify people who are really happy with your work. And those are the people that should be asking for reviews.
Absolutely.
Okay. So any follow-ups, and then work with those people who are client facing. Those are a couple quick ones for review acquisition. But we can maybe in a future episode go into a little bit more about review acquisition strategies that are, by the book, nothing sketchy, but how business owners can get some more reviews and get some of those 5 stars going on top of those 1s and 2s.
Sure.
Okay. What about you?
I'm always an advocate for subscribing to newsletters.
Okay.
And that's, instead of just...
You're talking about email newsletters, right?
Email newsletters and just bigger picture, like staying on top of tech trends.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff changing a lot. For example, Google Plus
gone,
shutting down.
Goodbye.
In 1 year, it's going to be gone. And if people had Google Plus as like a core part of their
social strategy,
their strategy, then they gotta change up.
Yeah.
And some people are just caught totally off guard. One thing I really dwell on is that SEO is not set it and forget it.
Right.
It's not a, we got the website set up. And
there's always something to do, even on a 5-page website.
You got to groom, you got to maintain it, you got to just keep up to date with everything.
Google changes something, add a new bell and whistle to the Google My Business page every week, it seems.
And there are legions, and I do mean legions of nerds watching, like
hawks watching.
Yeah, they're watching everything Google does.
There wrote an entire article about how Google added a photo to this one search result, and what does it mean?
It's like,
right?
Oh, well, Barry Schwartz insinuates that there could be could be, you know, like they're just...
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I try to explain to all of our trainees when they first start, is like, there's no like kind of, I mean, there's best practices and a checklist of things you should do when you're talking about search marketing or SEO, right? Absolutely. But those best practices, those all came from hundreds and thousands of hours of trial and error, test, retest, analyzations of correlation, right? You know, it's all, I think it's an analyzation, that's not even a word, analyses of analyses.
Yeah. We're agreeing on terms.
Right, agreeing on terms, exactly. It is not a by the book industry. It's really fast paced and changing. So absolutely agree with you there, bud. Did that capture all of what you wanted to hit with that actionable?
Oh yeah, hit the ball out of the park.
Okay, perfect.
You go.
Next for me, something rather dry in online marketing.
Number 3, actionable.
Okay. Number 3, actionable, something pretty dry. Okay, pretty SEO, local SEO even. Yeah, we didn't want to get too bogged down into one particular thing. We want to keep this kind of general for small businesses.
Sure.
But, I mean, small businesses are usually thinking local SEO anyway. But anyways, my point is build your citations. Okay, citation being just a mention of your business online. And for small businesses, that's primarily like your Yelp listing, your Facebook listing, Yellow Pages, Manta.com, right? So these are online directories, basically the online version of the phone book, now posting business information, and you know their whole model is to sell ads and preferred listings.
Name, address, phone number, description,
money,
website, if you got it.
Category, business hours, right? Get the important business information so the big name directories as well as the ones that are important in your industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about industry specific directories, House, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, that sort of thing, right? Angie's List, and then specific locations, right? So maybe there's a directory out there for, you know, it's PhoenixPlumbersDirectory.com or something like that. All right. It's a directory that's pretty prominent in Google. They get a lot of search traffic and they list different plumbers in Phoenix. Make sure you're on there represented with, as you said, the point of building citations is make sure that the information you just outlined is correct, because you'd be surprised how much that information is not correct. And if Google sees that information is not correct, they're not going to trust your business. They might not rank you. They might make duplicate listings of the incorrect information that they saw on those other listings.
Gotcha.
Okay, so build citations on the top names that are specific to your industry and also specific to your location. So a little bit smaller in the niche for those other ones. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now yours. Number 4.
Number 4, actionable. Website security. Get that SSL. I think that there's never been a more important time to have web security going on.
Right. And just to, again, define some terms here. When we say SSLs, web security, we're talking about that HTTPS in the address bar, not the HTTP.
And it stands for...
Get that S. Secure
sockets
layer. Right? And the whole point of that is that if I enter something into the website, that is encrypted. If any hacker might intercept that message, it will be gibberish to them. That's the entire point of SSLs and encryptions. Okay, we can go into 10 podcasts about how SSLs work. We're not going to.
Yeah, because we're good guys.
And as you mentioned, web security is on the forefront of everybody's mind, right? Regardless of what it means by secure.
Yeah.
Right?
So Facebook,
Facebook breaches.
Cambridge Analytica.
Correct.
Google Plus, actually,
Google Plus had
that's
its own
part of
breach.
why they had a little snafu there. It was a fracas.
Right. And at the absolute worst level, we had a credit union, right? And it was Equifax, right?
Equifax.
I wanted to make sure I was right here because I've actually got a friend who works for Experian, and they say they get calls all the time with people who are really upset with them. Like, no, we're the other ones. We're not the one. So I wanted to make sure, okay? I wanted to make sure I got that.
But also... the Google Chrome update, like you're getting warnings.
Okay,
now.
Good. Explain to people what you mean by the Google Chrome update with SSLs.
So it was like a security update. I don't know what it was officially called.
It was just with the new version of Chrome.
Yeah, new version of Chrome.
Feature.
It updated it. So now if you have an HTTP and not the HTTPS, you get this big garish warning and people bounce at super high rates. Like
right next to the domain name, it'll say not secure on Google Chrome. regardless of if, now keep in mind, not secure just means that message isn't going to be encrypted. Yeah. That's what that means. But like you said, users see the words not secure, out, bye. I'm going to another website.
Yeah.
Not even worth it. Firefox, I was logging into a site the other day. Firefox, okay, I was going to listen to some Fish. All right, so Fish gets the first reference, not Grateful Dead. Wow. Painful. That's gonna upset some deadheads.
We have the
one deadhead
right now.
Yeah, exactly. The one deadhead who stuck with us.
Yeah.
Right. Once he heard the Coen Brothers reference, is now left because I mentioned Fish first.
Yeah.
But I went to go listen to some Fish. The Fish website that I have an account on their desktop, they do not have an SSL. So I start typing in my email address, and what Firefox does is they're putting that not secure warning right underneath the text that you're typing in. So you can't even miss it by it being in the toolbar and you're looking at the bottom of the page. It's right underneath where you type. Like, this information is not secure. Yeah. Passwords can be compromised.
And they're not gonna chill out on that.
So I'm like, okay, bye. And I just start tweeting up a storm to try to get somebody to add an SSL to their site. You know, people are paying monthly subscriptions here.
Did Trey Anastasio get back to you about that?
He did not.
No,
he was not.
He was too busy noodling.
He was too busy noodling.
Doing some tasteful chromaticism.
Cozying up with Cliff Bar and some cold green tea. Wow, another Fish reference that beats the Grateful Dead. It's terrible. Anyways, okay, so SSL, huge. Absolutely. Site security, huge. Actually, that was Actionable number 4.
Okay. Right?
Number 5, okay? Back to the website now. Stay on the website, I should say. Have a dedicated page for each product and service that you offer, okay, on your website. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have one large services page that's 5,000 words trying to describe everything you possibly do. Mm-hmm. If you're a remodeling contractor and you work on kitchens, bathrooms, and basements, get yourself a kitchen remodeling page, a bathroom remodeling page, a basement remodeling page. So if you're talking to somebody about designing a new website for your business, don't worry. If you're talking to a web designer, okay, a web design agency, someone's pitching a new design, and you say, hey, I need a page for kitchens, bathrooms, and basements. And they say, well, that's going to cost you a little extra because it's going to be more development time. Don't skimp there, right? If you're going to skimp anywhere, just don't. Let them do their thing. Pay for it. Trust me, pay for it. You want Google to see you as an expert for those 3 things. When you try to put all that information on one page, you come off to Google as a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
Great show, by the way. By Aziz Ansari.
Who knows rest in peace.
Who knows if we'll ever see that show or that actor ever again. To follow up with that, products, it gets a little dicey now because if you offer a lot of products, that could be a really big website. Okay, which brings me to like a little corollary of Actionable number 5. Go the e-commerce route if it's feasible.
Okay.
If it's feasible for you, go there because people want to buy products online. People do not want to read about a product and then have to go to your store. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you can handle the emails coming in with orders of people wanting you to ship your product, you can even do e-commerce at a local level where someone types in their address, and if it's outside of what you say in your back end, you say, I'm sorry, we won't deliver to that area. You can even put parameters on that. But if you can handle it, go e-commerce. Mm-hmm. And then one little more corollary, if you need to rank in other cities, add pages for those cities. Okay. So if you're a remodeling contractor, Phoenix is easy for us. In the Phoenix metro area, it's useful to have a remodeling services in Gilbert page as well as a remodeling services in Chandler page. Just make sure those are unique content. Okay, not just copying and pasting and changing out Gilbert and Chandler because Google's going to hate seeing that duplicate content on your website.
Google draws a line in the sand.
A line in the sand, exactly.
When it comes to duplicate content.
Exactly.
If it feels like plagiarism.
A line that you do not cross.
You do not cross. And if you do have, in the example of a forum, canonicalization is a thing that
we'll link to. Let's link to the Moz article because now we're getting way past. Yeah, but absolutely, horror story there from your former company.
That's
I
right.
Agree.
I come from a weird e-commerce background.
Yeah,
and there were a lot. I think there were of this one product of vape e-juice. We had different SKUs for each nicotine level, for each blend, for each flavor. So you can imagine how many products that added up to on the site.
For duplicate content charges.
Yeah, so it was a horror story, and we didn't really have a dedicated guy who knew how to do any of that stuff.
So again, one of the things we wanted to avoid with this is making this like a whole sales thing, right? This is not a sales thing. This is us discussing, important things. But if I can jump there real quick, if you're going to have a big product website, you need to have a serious SEO expert, either on retainer at an agency or in-house, who's keeping an eye on that sort of thing. As soon as that site is touched, that person knows exactly what to do. That needs to be there if you have one of those big 30,000, 50,000 page sites, you know what I mean, with the big inventories.
There are so many ways to make mistakes.
Yes.
So many different ways.
Yes.
Okay, actionable number 6.
Because it's your third.
Let's hit the 6. I say improve user experience in every way.
Explain what you mean by user experience.
Okay,
UX.
so UX.
For the jargon.
It's a very jargony, like everybody's got their own like idiosyncratic definition here.
Yes.
And I don't want to split hairs, but I think user experience, or UX as the trendies call it, is just basically the A to Z experience of your business.
Product or service, right?
Product, service, yeah. What it is, like if you call them up and you pick up the phone, the customer service is part of the experience.
Right.
The website, your listing.
Delivery time.
The photos, delivery time. Put yourself in the customer or the client's or the patient's shoes and imagine a day in the life of them just going through the entire process. And you're going to find a bottleneck. I guarantee you, every business is going to find, if you do that kind of analysis on what your customers are doing, you're going to find that point in which it's like, wow, we're kind of losing people right there.
Right.
And maybe you have 2 or 3 spots.
Right. And I think the best way to take away now, because we could do an entire series on UX, right? Going into user interface as well on a website, right? UI.
It's an entire
But as you mentioned, I liked your definition, the A to Z of the experience with the business or a certain product or service. A banana has a UX, right? So like everything has a UX.
And what a UX
right.
a banana has.
Exactly. So everything down to knowing when to peel it, right? How you peel it, from what end you peel it from.
If it gets all mushy
and it's just like,
from the get-go.
Where are we losing people, right? Everything has a user experience.
Yeah.
And if you're paying attention to that, you can keep an eye on your online presence and see what part of the user experience, as you mentioned, you might be losing people, right? Maybe your website's too slow. Maybe we already talked about it. Maybe it's the not secure warning that shows up on Google Chrome. That's a negative for your user experience.
So I would recommend people, be a secret shopper on your own site, or walk into your own store. I wouldn't say go to wear disguises and stuff.
Right, like something on secret
Undercover Boss.
Undercover Boss. Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Don't go.
You don't need to do an episode of Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
But just get an idea of what your customer goes through from A to Z, as you mentioned. Yeah. Maybe even like a loyal customer who is they've been a customer for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I know that right now I go to my local bar. Shout out to Shady's. If Shady's asks me, Casey, what bothers you about the bar? Right. I can open up. I feel like I can open up because I'm going to keep going back, right?
Yeah.
So your really loyal customers, if they're willing to, could give you that honest feedback. It's really annoying when I come here and this happens, or when I go to your website and this happens. Okay, very good. Love user experience. Big fan of user experience. Okay, number 7. Track your leads. If you didn't catch anything else we said today, I would be fine with you coming away from this and making a decision to track your leads. Meaning someone calls you, you're doing a garage door repair. You do replace, installation, repair of garage doors. Someone asks you to come out and take a look at the garage door, and in 3 days, you come up with a schedule. You say, okay, I'll be out Thursday at 5. Before you hang up the phone, ask that person how they found you. Just ask them. Okay, you need to know. Even if you're going to go as old-fashioned as having a ledger, right? You don't have to have a fancy spreadsheet or a CRM system, but if you have even just a piece of paper where you're writing down the customer's name, the date, the product and service that they're interested in, and how they found you, You can then, once that job has been converted into a sale or whatever, write down a revenue note if you need to.
Yeah.
But you need to know where you're getting business from. If you're investing $2,000 a month in the phone book and you're not getting a single job, but you're then getting $10,000 worth of revenue from customer referrals, now we have an issue, right? Now we have an issue of where we're allocating budget.
Yeah.
Right? So keep an eye. You can come up with your own little categories. Referrals, website, Google Maps if you want to go that granular. But track your leads. Know where your business is coming from so you can measure your own ROI, return on investment.
It's just about making your business, leaner, really.
Right.
Like money going out, money coming in.
Know where everything is going.
The number one reason small businesses go out of business is cash flow problems.
Right, of course.
That is, it's like a duh kind of thing.
Right.
But like, if you don't know exactly from whence they came, it's just as dumb as not like looking at the money you're spending.
Right.
Really.
Right. It's you need to know this phone book investment. I'm putting in this much. I'm getting back this much. Let's spend more because it's doing a great job. Probably not because it's a phone book and it's 2018. Right.
Yeah.
Not to make anybody feel bad who's used to the phone book.
It's a fine book.
It's a fine place to sit or to use for kindling. Okay.
Or shoot.
Again, not to make light of it because I know that has been the standard for 40 years.
Yeah.
For our clients.
Yeah.
Right. So not to make light of it or to make people feel stupid or anything for investing in the phone book. Google Maps is the new phone book. Facebook's the new phone book. Right. Home Advisor, Angie's List, Yelp. Right. That's the new phone book, okay? Starting with Google, though. I saw that they have 90%, Rand Fishkin did a study, they have 90% market share on the search engine watch right now.
Yep, so they got Google, which is the biggest one, Google Search, Google Images, and then YouTube.
Right, if you wrap YouTube, which Google owns, into there, they're at 90% of the share of people searching, which is definitely monopoly territory here.
Yeah.
It used to be when Google first started, they were competing with AOL and Yahoo, right? And AOL, those two were actually king at the time. So they had to stand out and do what was in our best interest and the user's best interest, but now they're getting very close to monopoly territory.
Yeah.
All right. And if you watched, I don't know if you actually watched Rand Fishkin's Keynote at Brighton SEO, but that's just kind of what he was talking about. It's just like this market share is so much higher than people thought. They thought it was like 2/3. They thought Google was at like 60 to 70%, and then Bing and Yahoo filled in, right, depending on who you talk to. Some of the most recent studies, though, at 90. So, anyways, okay, so track your leads.
Yeah, track your leads.
So we got to there from track your leads. But anyways, number 8.
Number 8, upgrade your images / graphics.
Okay. How can I do that as a small business owner?
Well, if you as a small business owner, your Google listing has photos on there, and sometimes I've seen it back when I was working in the Google local listings department here at BizIQ. We would see these photos like selfies that people had uploaded that were not in any way affiliated with the business. They would just kind of show up on there. Oftentimes very dated photos, low quality photography, things that just do not portray the business in a good light. Photos of like the owner.
Literally in a good light.
Yeah.
Right?
Bad light.
From the visual point of view.
There was one where I saw a listing where it showed the owner doing a keg stand.
Yeah.
And it must have been, just uploaded, I don't know where it was from, but it was somebody doing a keg stand just drinking.
Not on brand.
Yeah, and this wasn't a brewery or like a distillery. This was like a vacuum cleaner repair shop.
Right.
So it didn't show it in a good light. And if you have a website, a lot of times people have kind of, everything's kind of high res now. Like you can't get away with having little postage stamp size things, blowing them up.
Right.
You gotta keep it maintained. You gotta update your stuff.
Okay, so two big things that we can see going wrong with visuals right now, especially with small businesses who have limited resources.
Yeah.
Number one, what you just said, low quality photos, small photos that are older that they're trying to stretch and use as like, say, the primary photo on the homepage of their site.
Yeah.
Or they're working with someone who says, that really doesn't work, we can't use that. What else do you have? The answer is nothing. So then what do? Stock photos.
Yeah.
Right? Stock photos have been very useful for the past 10, 20 years. However, what happens, especially with the millennial generation and younger, we can spot stock photos from a mile away.
It's actually uncanny.
It's so easy to tell what a stock photo is. And when you see a stock photo, you lose a little bit of credibility for that business owner. You're like, really, I can't see a picture of your store. You're going to show me like someone in a hard hat with a clipboard, right?
Yeah.
I want to see a house that you have built. I want to see a car that you've repaired. I want to see you folding your arms and looking tough in front of the truck that you just fixed or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we want to see as users. So, and really, I know you have written a piece last year for us, educating our clients on how to take better photos, because with everyone on a smartphone right now, even older generations who aren't used to smartphones, they all have smartphones. And those cameras are serious cameras. And there's no excuse to not have high quality photos on your website, on your Facebook page, anywhere that you're representing your business. And there's plenty of resources out there on lighting, orientation, where to put the subject of your photo. And we can, maybe that'll be a topic later on, is us diving deep, and it'll be mainly you talking about how to take the best pictures for your business on an iPhone without having to hire a photographer.
Yeah.
So that is a great investment.
If you have a smartphone that's been made in the last 5 years, which basically like the cell phone companies are like paying you to have a good one at this point. Yeah, it's just like they've incentivized having a good one, so just
or their software is killing your old one, so you have to get a new phone.
Exactly. They throttle it. Manufactured obsolescence.
Exactly.
So basically, they all of these phones can take photos that are higher resolution than your old Nikon or you know, like they're wonderful cameras.
We have no idea what is in our pockets when it comes to cameras.
Exactly.
Most of us don't.
And video cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wonderful.
So no excuse, upgrade your visuals and images, and maybe we'll get some like an updated, maybe a video that goes along with the blog article you wrote. It was really useful. Learn some quick tricks. Maybe we can do some more content about how business owners can on their own, right? Bootstrap it, right? Bootstrap it. You got an iPhone, you've got a machine that can seriously upgrade the visuals of your site and hit that actionable big time. Okay. Number 9, so I'm just like kind of going back and forth. Number 9 was actually commit to review. So I'm going to dish it back to you for number 10. So commit to reviews. Number 9, reviews. All right, number 10.
All right, number 10. I advocate this is something I kind of talked about before, but I'm a big fan of internal audits.
Okay.
Where a lot of times, a lot of people have that set it and forget it attitude when it comes to their web presence. And they might have a site full of dead links.
Yeah.
They have pages that may not exist anymore.
Well, even if something as simple as the link to their Facebook page, like Facebook changes something in the link structure on Facebook.
Yeah.
And now that old link doesn't get to your page anymore. It's an error because you haven't updated the exact URL that the little Facebook icon should go to. Something as simple as that, right?
Or your Casey was talking about citations earlier. If you moved your business, you got to make sure all of that information is updated.
Right.
And that goes for content too.
Right.
A lot of times, like services, they don't work on these things anymore. They don't, like an auto shop. They don't work on Audi cars anymore. They decided to stop doing Audis.
Right. If they no longer service that, and they've got an entire page dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the kind of internal audit you're talking about, where we got to make sure that we know, again, and really what it kind of goes back to, what your internal audit's going back to, is not only some general strategies about your presence, but really it's reevaluating the user experience again.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of doing a UX check. Yeah. Right? When people search, what do they see? Are they searching for our old stuff?
Yeah.
Right? Is our old stuff still out there? So if you're managing your own listings, for instance, it used to be maybe recommended like every quarter, go back and check those directories again, right? Go back and check Yelp, make sure that nothing weird has happened, right? It might, with the influx of user-generated content, meaning people post suggestions or post photos to your business's listing, with the influx of that on platforms, that's the stuff, as you say, set it and forget it doesn't work anymore, because someone could suggest your business hours are completely wrong and they can change. So you need to check this stuff almost monthly, right? Or if you have somebody who has tools that scan it for you, or you're paying someone to manage your listings, that can help with these internal audits, because those internal audits might be handled by your SEO agency or your content marketing company who's checking back those old blog articles and see if they need to be rewritten.
And a big reason why we don't advocate those like quick fixes, like we're talking about like big picture quality stuff, is because Google, a lot of people like they do SEO like they're trying to appease Google, like it's like some machine that must be appeased. But
it's the whole topic here. Go ahead.
Google is looking at human behavior now.
Yes.
And that's a little scary, right? But they are watching things like dwell time, task completion, user intent. They're looking at how fast people are bouncing. So if you have a site that has like a bunch of tacky little hacks all over it, like all these little, black hat things, and people are bouncing.
Right, the bounce, it no longer works to necessarily program to two different things.
You're not collecting clicks.
Right, you can't build your experience for Google in one way and then your users in another way. And now it's the same. Yeah. If you make your users happy, if you make your web visitors happy, if you make the people who click on your Google listing happy, that in turn is going to be rewarded.
SEO is people.
Right. SEO is people, as we like to say. Another Moz content, okay, it was by Fishkin also. Is searcher task accomplishment the number one, the new most important ranking factor, right? And it just dives deep into exactly what you were just talking about, of looking at the behaviors once people are on your site. Did they get what they needed, or did they leave immediately because you ranked well, but you didn't actually solve what they needed?
Yeah.
Right? It's a blog article that has a clickbaity title, but doesn't actually answer the question that I asked in the search.
Yeah. There's actually a subreddit called Saved You a Click. Have you seen this?
No.
It's called Saved You a Click, and what it does is it gives you a clickbaity title, and then it gives you a little pipe, and then on the other side it tells you
what's actually there,
what you want. So it saves you a click. So a lot of times it was like the shocking reason Mel Gibson isn't in movies anymore.
Pipe, and then the synopsis of the article.
He's focusing on directing. It's just like,
instead of reading 1,000 words, closing 20 pop-ups, getting past the photos.
And some of them really exposed to clickbait. For the clickbait they are, because it's like after 29 clicks, it never tells you
literally what the title is.
Yeah.
It never answers the question.
It never addresses this.
Right.
And that's the thing is like I think there was a lot of that maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
And hopefully it's going to start getting out of there. And, you would also hope that, see, I used to run into it all the time on Facebook as a user with like sports blogs.
Yeah.
And I'd get so mad, I'd start commenting on the ads and the posts, and I'd be like, the user experience on your blog is horrendous.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read the opening paragraph, and I've got a pop-up ad.
And each one's a new page where they do that slideshow thing.
It's a new page with a new video.
With a new collection of ads just everywhere around the sites.
Now we're just complaining.
We are just griping.
Now we're just griping at this point. So we've gotten through our 10 actionables. We talked about what we wanted to discuss, and now we're griping. So, I don't know. Maybe we need to put a bow on this thing.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
I say we wrap it up. Call it good.
Okay. So I just want to remind people for a little follow-up to this video. In the comment section, wherever you're digesting this, whether it's YouTube or anywhere else, I want you to let me know if you go to a restaurant or you hire a contractor or you go to an auto repair shop and they do exactly what you expected. They don't do an exemplary job. They don't make you upset. They do exactly what you expected. You expected to pay $50 for an oil change and you got the $50 oil change and you leave.
No surprises.
What are you doing on their Google, Yelp, Facebook listing? Are you leaving a review? If so, is that a 4 to you? Is that a 5? Is that a 3? What is that experience? Because I'm really interested to get some crowdsourced opinions on that.
Okay. Cool.
Anything you would like to wrap up with?
Well, I'd like to remind people to like, subscribe, promote, share. Do all those
all the points and the links and stuff.
I'm gonna fix all this in post.
Right, in post, you're gonna put the stuff when I do this. You're gonna put the thing to click and all that good stuff. It'll look perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like real influencers.
Absolutely.
Like YouTube influencers.
And we're going to put our horrible smiling face all over the place like Neil Patel.
Right, for the thumbnail is going to be like really, really epic. And this is going to be titled something completely different than what we actually just talked about.
You're going to have that weird like stroke outline on everything. And we're going to both be like looking at something exploding.
Right.
Or something with like
an explosive first episode.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a 5-legged man kind of like out of focus in there. We're both looking at it.
Remember we were talking like the frame of the picture? Yeah. We're now like very far outside of that frame as we imagined.
Absolutely.
So I think we just call her a day.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. This was episode 1 of Bootstrap and Bootstrappers. And
Bootstrappers, yeah.
Bootstrappers.
Bootstrappers.
Yeah.
There we go.
Bootstrap for short.
Yeah.
Everybody who knows us
everyone's calling it Bootstrap these days.
Already.
Yeah.
Cool. And until next time.